asking blessings and support from our Shaykh, Sahib al-Saif, to send us something that is going to benefit us. This tariqat is based on association. Tariqatan as-sohbah fil khayri min jamiyat. This tariqat is based on association, and these are holy words coming from the pir of a tariqat, Hazrati Shaykh Naksibendi. And he said it over 70,000 times. 70,000 sohbets he gave. Murids, it's not sohbet once a week. It's not even once a day. You should have it 5 times a day. Shaykh Effendi, for some time, he used to do that too. In the early days, you remember Abdul Hamid? He's praying with us, sitting down, having a sohbet, feeling it. So it's important to have this. And the sohbet is something that is sent from different stations to whatever that is needed for that community, for that jamaat, for the murids at that time. These days, there is a separation, a disconnect between who is speaking and who is listening. When a religion, it becomes just book knowledge, then you're going to get this separation. These days, tariqat has become book knowledge too. But people find what they're looking for. Majority are not really looking for a guide or a sheikh or a murshid. They just want a lecturer. They just want somebody there to just deliver a lecture. If they give handout, it's better. Just to sit, fill up a questionnaire, then they go back with that handout. This is not religion. This is especially not tariqat, and this is not sohbet. There is a sohbet, there is in that sohbet there for you for that time. As much as you are looking to fix yourself, you will find it. Alhamdulillah, we have reached to the holy month of Jumadil Akhir. Every month it is holy, of course. This is a stepping point to the 3 holy months that's going to enter, in which, in the old days, the 3 holy months, the sheikhs, they prepare the murids for seclusion in these 3 holy months. In the old days, they make seclusion 40 days, 70 days, 100 days, whatever it is. And in the old days, at least the murids, they are fasting. If they're not fasting Mondays and Thursdays, they are fasting the holy days and the holy nights that is entering. They fast the day before and the day after. Some, they may fast because everyone is waiting for the big month. What is that month? Ramadan. And the holiest night, the night of Laylatul Qadr, the night of power. Everything must lead up to that night. So they are preparing now. And some, because of their love for ibadat is so strong, we're not even entering into spirituality now, just ibadat. They start fasting before Ramadan. Not just Mondays and Thursdays. Some they may fast whole month before. Some they fast months before. That when they are calculating, Rajab is entering, they're going to fast until the end of Ramadan, until the 10 days, 7 days, 10 days after Ramadan to complete 100 days. To say at least 1/3 of the year, isn't it? Almost 1/3 of the year, I'm fasting for the sake of Allah. So, we are going to enter into the month now of Rajab. Many people will ask me, what are the special salawats, special durood, special worship, special things that you need to do in these special days? Tarikatana sohbet fil hayri min jamiyat. This tariqat is based on association. If you are taking the sohbet and you decide now to apply the sohbet, because the sohbet is like ammunition against the shaitan in your ego, and you're saying, I cannot do khatim of Quran, it's too much for me. I cannot sit and make too much zikr, it is too much for me. If you just take the sohbet and you're going to apply it during these 3 holy months, and you're going to sit, for example, you're going to reflect, to make tafakkur, you're going to stand up, you're going to work, and you're going to watch your heart, what enters into your heart. And you're going to stand and you're going to watch what comes out from your mouth. And you're going to be very careful. You're going to make it more aware for yourself that, in the 70s, Shaykh Effendi likes to say this, he talks about Charlie's Angels and other things from the 70s. Candid camera. In the 70s, 80s, they have candid camera. They have hidden camera. And they record you. To have that understanding that you are on camera, especially in these holy months, and they are watching you. If you do that, not only the holy months will become holy, you will also start changing to become better. Your worship that time will have more value. We're not talking about doing a lot of worship that has very little value, but we're looking for small worship that has very high value. Allah is looking for what? The amount of worship? He's looking for sincerity, to be sincere. How the man is going to be sincere if he's not watching what comes out from his mouth and what goes into his heart? If whatever comes to his heart, he's not screening it, and whatever comes from his mouth or her mouth, they're not screening it. Everyone thinking that, especially now we see the sickness in tariqat, you think that you are ma'asum. You cannot be approached. Everything you do is correct. You are beyond reproach. No one can say nothing. No one can correct you. That is wrong. And another sickness is people try to correct each other. But you're not watching how much authority is given to you to do it, and what comes out from your mouth when you're doing it. And are you doing it because you see Shaykh Effendi doing it, or are you doing it because you like to do it? It fits to your ego. And you're not watching the results to see whether there is something working or not. Very quick to say, I have a right. What about my rights? What about my rights? I have a right. We enter into tariqat to watch for our rights, to look at what is entitled to us? Or do we enter into this way, Siratul Mustaqim, to look at the rights of Allah and His Prophet? Whose rights we're looking for? If you say you want to enter the tariqat to look at what my rights are, then we're saying you're in the wrong business, wrong association. If you want to look at what are your rights, this is not the way. This is not your path. Because if you start concentrating on that, what your rights are, is never ending. 100 people here, you have 100 rights. And everyone is going to say, me. Not you, not anyone, me. There is complete ego. That also means you have lost your direction to know the reason of your creation, of our creation. What is the reason of our creation? To have rights? What is the reason of our creation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that answer. Don't need to think so much. Quran is speaking. We have been created to know Allah and to worship Allah. We have been created to become servants to Allah. Who was the saint or the Sahabi who had a servant and he asked him a few questions? We just said that in a khutbah a few months ago. Who remembers? Say. You're not even listening. You see? Say. Who remembers? I remember. Anyone remembers? So you were not here. Was it Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh? You're going to find out and let me know. That one had a servant. And he asked his servant, what is your name? The servant says, whatever you call me, O my master, that will be my name. When it comes to spirituality, everyone talks a whole lot about spirituality. I'm very spiritual, I'm seeing this, I'm noticing this, I'm Sayyid, I'm Sharif, this kind of things. So much they talk about, but when it comes to doing it, to emulate, to walk in the footsteps of believers, to walk in the footsteps of the saints and the awliyas and the prophets, they say, no, I'm so weak, I cannot carry this. It's not me. It's okay, bring the baby out. Feel free, bring it up, you can attend to it. What is your name? You stay. Saying, my name is whatever you call me. What do you want? What do you need? And the servant says, what does a servant has to do with need or want? There's a whole series of questions that he asked, no? So now, what are we? Servants. How are you going to learn servanthood? You think we are servants? No, that's too extreme. So you're saying that the Sahabis and the saints and the awliya and the Prophet, they are there to show their lives and there's nothing that we can take from them. We become so arrogant and ignorant and stubborn that we cannot even say, that is my role model. I don't know if I can follow it, but at least that is in front of me. I must try. And whenever my ego goes up, I must look at them and feel shame. And when that servant said that one who asked him, a very high Sahabi who asked him, he started crying, and he cried so much that he fainted. And he says, that servant has more faith than I do to my Lord. So we have been created to be servants. The servant first looks to the rights of his master, the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is like allergy, especially in the West. They don't like the word servant. They don't like the word master. No, everyone is equal. Really? Go say that to your boss that you work in your company, saying that everything is equal. This is democracy. Today, you're sitting on that chair, I'm out here. Tomorrow, I want to sit over there. Equal. Or go to White House and say, I want to sit over there. Equal. No, it is not. So, we have the role models that is in front of us. And we have the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that He created us to become servants, to know Him and to worship Him. But He has created us not in original sin. He created us in ahsani takwim, in the most perfect form. You understand? He created us in perfection, perfect form. He had created us, and He had called us Hazrati Insan. That we are created and we have been honored. That Allah is saying, وَلَكَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي Adam. And we have honored the children of Adam. Never He said in the Quran, we have honored the angels. Or we have honored the animals. Or any other creation, but we have honored the children of Adam. You think to occupy that maqam of Hazrati Insan, of Ahsani Takwim, is just by doing whatever we want to do, saying whatever we want to say, behaving however we want to behave at that time because it makes us to feel good, then later to say, I'm sorry, but the damage is already done. We are believers. We're trying to be believers. We should be better than that. It is not with titles that the honor comes. It is with a sincere intention, and it is with the actions that you do. It is not with the titles. People are saying they are this or they are that. Look to see your lifestyle. Does it fit to that title that you're giving to yourself or others are giving you? No, it doesn't. Then fix it. Become better. Does it fit to the title? You're trying to. Then be happy, because that comes from Allah. Doesn't come from you again. Don't take any credit for it again, because Allah is sending help that you're able to do it. We're reaching to the holy months. You know what happens to the holy months when they are coming? What happens? You think you are the only ones who knows it's a holy month? Shaitan also knows it's a holy month. Isn't it? Shaitan also knows, and your ego also knows, that there's big blessing that's going to come. So what does your enemy, what will he do to you if he knows, your enemy, that soon in 1 week's time, you're going to get something really good, big reward. Say you're going to get big treasure. You're going to get a big blessing. What do you think your enemy will do? And that enemy is your sworn enemy. That enemy never sleeps. The enemy is plotting day and night to bring you down. You think the enemy is just going to keep quiet and let you to receive that treasure, that blessing that is coming to you? The enemy is going to step up to sabotage you, correct? Isn't it? To make sure that you don't get it. To make sure that there's some sabotage there. You have an enemy outside. Shaitan is your enemy outside. But he's one of four. But you also have an enemy that is inside. And it is always the enemy that is inside that is more dangerous than the enemy that is outside. Even the kafirs, they know. The Chinese philosopher saying what? Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. They know. The art of war. You're always warring against your ego. Who is keeping the ego closer? Who is knowing the ego closer? Muslims? Are they even talking about this? You see them talking about this in the masjids and in conferences. Everyone saying, we have a big enemy. Reminding each other about this enemy. 3-day seminars, conferences, or gatherings of tarikats maybe. You know, million-man salawat. You're going to have. Very good, give salawat. But the enemy is inside. Whatever salawat that is coming, the enemy is sabotaging it too. Are people talking about this? Handful of people are talking about this. Very, very small handful. I'm being very generous because I've only heard Shaykh Effendi talking about it and concentrating. Most of the time, speak about other things. So, we must watch this enemy that is going to sabotage us. Because the holy days and the holy nights, they are approaching. And if you are around Shaykh Effendi long enough, you know that certain things start to go crazy. Certain things start to happen at this time. To yourself, to people around you, to this world. Guard yourself against that. Don't give in. Don't think that whatever comes to your heart, it is coming from Rahman. Don't think that whatever comes from your tongue is coming from Rahman. Understand the enemy that is inside. If you are concentrating on that, then help will come to you. We are weak. We cannot fight against it by ourselves. Definitely we cannot. But help will quickly come. And there will be safety. And the mistakes that you do, you can easily stop them. And the mistakes that you do, Allah may turn those mistakes, not only forgiving it, but turning it into good deeds. And He will reward you for it. This is the mercy of Allah. But the mercy is reaching if you take that one step closer to Him. May Allah forgive me and bless all of you. Inshallah Rahman, we are approaching those holy months. Make the intention to pull yourself out from the actions and the intentions that is guided by the ego, and to pull back and to watch. First observe. Then later you may do steps, whether to fix it or not to fix it. Don't be just in the middle of things, to be caught up in the whole thing and not to be able to see. وَمِنَ اللَّهِ تَوْفِيقَ الْفَاتِحَةِ